By Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome into game night. We're coming to you live from the Sports Town 1140 studios right here. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, and Hank, tonight feels like it's a little bit of the consolation game between the Kings and the Suns, with the Lakers getting ready to take on the Pacers.
Play for third and fourth place.
Exactly. We'll cover it all hour long right here on Sactown Sports 1140. If you want to join us, you certainly can. 1-800-920-1140. Of course, the Kings wish they were playing yesterday in Vegas. It didn't happen. They weren't able to get the job done against the Pelicans, who are really becoming their nemesis now. 0 for 3 against New Orleans. They had the early lead in the first half, and then it just all kind of wiped away, and it felt like we'd seen this story before.
Yeah, that loss hurt, Scott, on two different levels. The first level that stands out is, yes, we should have been in Vegas right now, getting ready to play Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton against De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis against his old squad. We get to see our old buddy Hill once again. But that didn't happen, so, we got to ride with that. And then, another aspect of it is like you said, just for the season matchup, we're 0-3 down to New Orleans. And, by the way it looks right now, both of these teams might be, fighting for a spot. So you don't want to be down in the season series.
No doubt about it. The Kings and the Suns are right next to each other in the Western Conference standings. And as it will turn out, the Kings will play the Suns 5 times now. Of course, they're going to end up playing the Pelicans 5 times as well. Last night, New Orleans getting blown out by LA, 40-plus point loss. Did that surprise you how bad the Pelicans played last night?
It did, but it didn't surprise me how the Lakers did it. The Lakers just played King-style basketball. They ran New Orleans out the gym. They never let New Orleans get into a half-court set. They never let them get their defense set. LeBron kept pushing the ball down their throats. You had Reed just kept going to the basket. Everybody pushed the pace for the LA Lakers. And New Orleans is not a very good up-tempo style team. They just had enough size and strength to deal with New Orleans down low.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And how about LeBron? I mean, we've said this 200 times now. I know it becomes a repeat. We understand this. LeBron was amazing against the Lakers.
LeBron wants it.
Yes, he does.
And you can tell that he wants it by the way he plays, by the way he goes out, his body language. Come on, man. LeBron started from the very giddy up, Scott. He was pushing the basketball. He was out on the wing. How many times have you seen this? When somebody gets stripped at half court and the Lakers have to get back on defense, LeBron just stands like, man, what's going on here? LeBron was getting back on defense, blocking shots. He's very much engaged. And, of course, being a big-time competitor, we understand the King wants to win a little bit of everything. So if he can go out saying that, okay, you know what? I get to do something Michael Jordan didn't do. I get to do something Kobe Bryant didn't do, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, all the greats that he's always in the conversation with. He get a chance to do something that none of those guys couldn't do, and that was win this first trophy.
No doubt. A 44-point win for the Lakers last night. The Pacers beating the Bucks. So Tyrese versus LeBron. We'll get into all of that, of course, too. And, the conversation, of course, with the Lakers, and you mentioned with LeBron and everything else, his numbers, again, 30 points. He did it in 23 minutes. It's the first time in his career. Here's a stat that is always surprising. Anytime you mention first time with LeBron James' name, considering how amazing he's been, it's the first time he has had a 30-point game in his NBA career playing under 25 minutes.
Wow. That just shows you how efficient he was the other night. I mean, they played good basketball. I got to give him that. Whenever him and AD are clicking at the exact same time and you get some of the complimentary players to step up, they're a good basketball team.
Yeah, they are indeed. All right, let's focus in. Let's go back to Monday night. We've got to break this down a little bit. I want to find out if you're concerned or not. The Kings, again, they opened up that 15-point halftime or first half lead against the Pelicans. It wiped away by halftime. It wasn't a very good second quarter for them. Certainly the second half wasn't much better as they ended up losing the contest 127-117. Is it simply the Pelicans are a better team? They exposed Sacramento, bad matchup. How do you put this all together now with a 3-game sample size?
Scott, I'm just going to go back to last game. All right. What I saw, the Kings came out and they punched New Orleans in the mouth. I mean, they came out on
Great
fire.
Start, yeah.
They got up 15 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if they got lackadaisical, but the Kings turned the ball over 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
In a row, Scott. Now, was that Kings being lackadaisical or was that being New Orleans ramping up the pressure? But their bench came in and changed the game. They got turnovers. They got into transition. I honestly think that the Sacramento Kings gave New Orleans confidence because when the bench start playing well, that transitioned over to their starters because the Kings starters had really taken care of the New Orleans starters. They went, like I said, they went up 15. So when the bench came in, it was a different story. New Orleans bench definitely changed the game. And I think once New Orleans got confidence, then it was one of those situations where it was like they're going downhill and it's hard to stop them.
No question. They got it going. And obviously, Herb Jones had a big time game for them. We think about their big 3 and even big 4 with Valanciunas and Ingram was great. He had 30, but it was really Herb Jones that 23 points that was instrumental in that game.
Right. And, and it's funny because we talked to their play-by-play guy and he said,
he mentioned
if he had to pick an MVP, Herb Jones was his guy,
no doubt.
But I think more so on the offensive end, Scott, I think defensively, man, is where New Orleans beat the Sacramento Kings because they turned the Kings over big time and time again. And then even when the Kings tried to come back and make that Herculean effort like they try to do whenever they go down double digits or go down 20 points, whenever they tried to make that push, New Orleans had an answer.
They did have an answer. And the thing of it is, they did it really without Zion doing much. I mean, Zion had 10 points. He was 5 of 8 from the field. He only had 6 rebounds in his 28 minutes. Last night, I don't know if you had a chance to catch the post game on TNT, but Shaq and Barkley just basically tore Zion apart.
Oh, I bet.
He doesn't play hard enough. He doesn't run the floor. He's not in shape. He doesn't post up. He doesn't do anything a guy who could conceivably be the best player in the league should be doing. We didn't see it against Sacramento this time. The Pelicans didn't even need it.
No, they didn't. Not against us because Brandon Ingram was having such a great game.
Yeah.
Valanciunas had his way down low. You just mentioned what Herb Jones did. And then we don't want to talk about the guys like Alvarado and some of the other complimentary players. They play well. Their bench outplayed our bench. And that's probably maybe one of the first times our bench has gotten outplayed because usually Malik Monk by himself comes in to give a Herculean effort and outscores the other team's bench. But their bench outplayed ours that night.
No doubt. The Kings only had 31 bench points. 21 of them did come from Malik Monk. So obviously that was a problem. A lot of talk this week. Obviously there hasn't been a few days between games, so it gets everybody talking. Based on what we've seen, do the Kings at this point, we talk about them wanting to take their team to the next level. It's not about just getting back to the playoffs, not about just trying to win a first round here. We know what the goals are. Do you think right now with the Kings roster the way it is, do they need to make a trade or can they get better from within?
A lot of people started to question that.
Everybody's talking about what happens when you have 3 days between games and you have a clunker like that on Monday, of course.
Yeah, everybody's questioning. Let's run a back scheme that the Sacramento Kings have elected to do. Let's spin the block with the exact same group. Well, I've always been on this mindset, Scott. You can always get better.
Yep.
You can always get better. The Sacramento Kings is not a whole team, a team that's whole, by no means necessary. They have some very good pieces. They have some pieces that's coming off the bench that's good, but you can always get better. So if you ask me, I'm going to always say, yeah, it's room for improvement because you're not just rolling through teams. You're not steamrolling this league. So you definitely have to say, well, we do need to get better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this forces Monty McNair's hand at all. I don't think so. He's been playing for the long game, very patient, and he's always evaluated. We understand that, but just curious right now how he's evaluating his roster and where he thinks it might be in relation to other teams and looking down the road towards April, May, and June.
You know what, Scott? I think if something comes up that makes sense, the Kings make a move.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I mean, let's look at the starting five. De'Aaron Fox, solid, playing good basketball. I would say that Red Velvet is back.
Mm-hmm.
Red Velvet is playing decent basketball.
Yep.
All right. Keegan Murray, defensively, yes. Offensively, he hasn't showed up yet.
And no doubt now with his back situation, a little concerned about if he's 100%.
Yeah, but he played, and then he played the whole game. So,
but he went into the locker room, came
back out.
He is scheduled to play tonight, no restriction.
So, offensively, he hasn't really showed up. Sabonis is Sabonis.
Yep.
He is what he is. I do think that in order for this team to make that next step, he's going to have to be a big time double guy. He's going to have to be 22 and 10 every night.
Yeah.
For them to be better than they were last year. It's just one of those things where, bro, you're going to have to be that for this team to win. I'm sorry.
No doubt. And kind of using him from Monday night, he had his triple double on Monday night. It didn't seem to matter.
It didn't because, like I said, their bench just killed our bench. Harrison Barnes is the X factor.
Yep.
Harrison Barnes is the X factor.
That's the other topic everybody's talking about.
Oh, I bet. Because Harrison Barnes is the guy to where, because you won't ever look at Keegan and say, oh, Keegan's not shooting the ball well. That's why this team isn't winning. Nah. He won't get that call as a second-year player, as a sophomore player, no. But Harrison Barnes highs is too high and lows are too low. That's the problem. He came out the first night, gave us 30-something, right?
Yep.
Next night, he gave you 6.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're talking about here through Harrison Barnes. His highs are too high. His lows are too low. Now, when you go to our bench, okay, Malik Monk is Malik Monk.
Yeah.
Let
me cut you on Barnes real quick. I just want to follow up on this. If I told you this about his numbers, now his production's a little bit down from last year. He's 11.8 points. He's 3.3 rebounds, 1.5 assists, but he's at or above his career averages in field goal percentage at 47.8, 3-point shooting, 37-point free throw shooting, 83% in steals.
But that don't tell the whole story, Scott. I just gave you an example. He'll give you 31 night.
Yep.
He'll give you 6 the next night. Yep. No, we need to study 18 for him for this team to be good. Not just his numbers.
Sure.
But we need to study 18, 16, 18 a night from Harrison Barnes, because the nights he give you 6, we lose.
I'm in agreement with you. Now, Mike Brown's also said that, quote, he is doing what he's asking him of a player because he's guarding the NBA's best wings without having plays called for him on offense.
Mike is going to have Harrison Barnes back. I guarantee you that. No problem with that. But we're looking at what we see on the floor.
Sure.
Don't give me no smoke and mirrors. I know what I'm looking at out there on the floor. Yes. And, we can go on down the line. Okay. Sasha Vezenkov, he hasn't given us what the Kings thought they were going to get at all.
Nope.
Right now he's still finding his way. He might get there, but up until now, not even close.
No, there's been no improvement from Davion Mitchell's game from last year.
Davion ain't even getting time anymore.
No, I know it, but what I'm saying is, I think we were counting by year 3 that he would be that.
He would be a little bit
off the bench,
right? He would be a little bit better. But then again, look at the other 2 guys we got. We thought that Chris Duarte was going to be the next thing.
Yeah, and now he's out with the knee, at least for the time being.
Now he's out with the knee. And guys after that, okay, Trey Lyles is Trey Lyles. I'm riding with Trey. Trey does his job. He's consistent. He's solid. He does his job. And then when you start talking about, okay, JaVale McGee does his job. But some of the guys who the Sacramento Kings were banking on to be bigger and better, they're not there right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, I think Monday night kind of woke a lot of people up in terms of, okay, we're 0-3 against the Pelicans. Is it time to panic? Is it time that needs to be thought of as doing something else for the Kings? We'll see how things play out. We know they have Phoenix tonight. We'll take the break. Game night's underway. If you want to join us, you can at 916-339-1140. We'd love to hear from you. We're up and running on the Chat room and YouTube too at Sactown Sports 1140. Sign up there. Get into the discussion. We'll have more ongoing during this timeout. It's game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty. We are live on YouTube.
Kyle, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful today. It's been a while since we've all been together here.
It has been. I'm going to take a selfie of us. Give us a big smile, Kyle.
All righty.
Fantastic. We've got our gray on tonight. We like the old school or the in-season floor for the Kings. Did you like it, Kyle?
I wanted more purple, but I didn't have complaints about it. I thought it was serviceable. It was fine. Not my favorite, but it was pretty good.
Okay, fair enough.
I like purple. That's mine. I would have liked if purple was the main color we were going for.
I like the 100-year court.
Yeah,
I think that's my favorite court.
Is very nice.
It is the best of all the courts. I'd like to see that a lot more.
But Scooter, you and I love gray because we're old.
That's true.
I could rock the gray. You guys,
Yeah.
I mean, those on YouTube who have seen me before know I like colorful outfits with fun colors and combinations. That's my yellow outfit is showing tonight.
That is true. All right, so we've got a poll question going in the chat.
Just simple.
Yep.
Pacers or Lakers? Who's going to win tomorrow?
All right.
That's
what
the question
do you think, Highflyer? The Pacers were impressive last night, beating the Bucks.
Hey, the Pacers have been impressive all the way through.
Yeah, they have.
And they're playing some good basketball. So, if I'm a betting man, which I don't bet at all, but I'm rolling with Indiana because I think the Lakers are too much up and down. We saw the best of LeBron and AD the other night.
Yep.
And they look great. We know that that's what they can be. But how many nights have we seen them be able to generate that back to back to back? Not too many.
No. Consistency is a big deal, no doubt.
It's interesting that the Lakers are here because during the drive, guys, Whitey was talking about net rating.
Yes.
And the Lakers have the 16th highest net rating in the NBA this year, and their record's about 500, despite the fact that they've won all 6 games in the in-season tournament now. So it's been, by all accounts, a bit of a lucky run for the Lakers. Maybe you could say LeBron playing in meaningful games or whatever else.
That's what I wanted to bring up. We were just talking about LeBron, how much it means to him, right? So can the Pacers get over the King tomorrow night?
Can the Pacers get over the King that really wants it?
Yeah.
That's going to be the thing, Scott. The reason why the Lakers have all of a sudden just turned it around and start winning every last single in-season tournament game is this is something that LeBron wants. I've always said, Scott, whenever LeBron is engaged and he's ready to play, he's a guy that can put a team on his back by himself and make big-time things happen. So when he's engaged, he's ready to go, yeah, you're going to always have a chance. But when he's in a situation where he's like, hey, so just another game, that's when you start losing.
No doubt. Well, he's definitely engaged. And, they even made the comment on the broadcast last night. I'm trying to remember. It's Kevin Harlan and was it Reggie Miller?
They had the cross broadcast.
It's Doc Rivers.
No,
yeah.
And Doc was saying he thinks LeBron's improving at age 38.
He thinks LeBron's what?
Improving.
No.
Can't be.
No.
Can't be.
That's what he said. His goals.
4554 National Garage Door.
Welcome back into game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Hope you're enjoying your Friday afternoon. It's Friday. Yes, the weekend is here. If you're out in the roadways, we know they're busy right now as you're navigating your way back home, getting your weekend started. We've got you covered here on Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh and the High Flyer with you here. We'll take you until 5:30 tonight. Get you ready for Kings Live pregame. 6 o'clock tip tonight, Kings and Suns down in Phoenix. Of course, this is kind of the consolation game of the in-season tournament. Phoenix losing to LA on Tuesday night. We just went over the Kings and Pelicans on Monday night. By the way, on Tuesday night, great game in LA. Suns almost pulled it off. They lost 106-103. Did you see the controversial ending to that game on Tuesday night? The timeout they gave LeBron with the ball not only rolling on the floor, it literally rolled behind LeBron before the time he got the timeout.
Right. The ball was rolling out of bounds.
Yes.
But, the refs aren't going to ever say they messed up.
No.
And that's a call that's not reviewable.
Nope, because it wasn't a foul and it wasn't out of bounds.
Like I said, that's a call that's not reviewable.
Yep.
And It was a very heads up play by LeBron.
It was
Very heads up play. So bad call, atrocious. We all know that.
Yeah.
Horrible call.
Yeah.
But one of those situations to where were you very smart at calling a timeout? Top of the list.
It was brilliant on LeBron's part, and obviously he got away with it. Frank Vogel, of course, who was the Lakers coach, now the Suns head coach, was just absolutely beside himself in the post game. Understandably so, because
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it was a blown call.
Yeah. I mean, you have three referees out there.
Yep.
Now, if you only got two, I mean, stuff can be hidden. That's why they added that third ref. Remember, Scott, for a long time, we only had two referees on the floor.
Yep.
So adding that third ref was supposed to give them another set of eyes to where they can get the call right. But I'm sorry, that's the ball. And most people, most players, even some analysts, watch the ball. You didn't see where the ball was when LeBron was trying to call timeout. Are you too busy eyeballing LeBron that you don't see the ball rolling out of off the court? Maybe not.
Hard to believe. Obviously, the 2-minute report discussed it. I know your favorite report in all of sports.
Well, long as it's not against us, I'm fine with it.
So anyways,
what did it say?
There's that, of course. I'm scrolling through it because there were 3 missed calls in the 2-minute report. So I'll continue to pull that one up. But getting your thoughts on the Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton. They beat the Bucks 129-119. Tyrese, another magnificent night where he had 15 or 16 assists and 0 turnovers. And he had that huge three. And then he even went to his Rolex that wasn't on his right wrist after he hit the game-winning shot. It was in reference to Dame time, of course.
Oh, he went to the Rolex.
He went to the Rolex afterwards. Is it now Tyrese time, no longer Dame time?
It's TT Tyrese time. This dude is playing basketball, man, on a very high level. He's doing a great job of running his team. I'm sorry, Scott. Whenever you could get 30 points and 15 assists, you are putting your stamp all over a basketball game.
Yeah. And going back to that 2-minute report, okay, this is what they said about this, okay? The reasoning behind the timeout, stating Austin Reeves had his left hand on the ball while it was pinned against his left leg, which does constitute control.
Huh?
Yeah.
What did they see?
I'm just reading it. The pool report for why the Lakers were awarded a timeout late in tonight's win over the Suns.
How about the part where the ball was just rolling? Because that's what I see.
Yeah.
The ball was just rolling, and LeBron is screaming timeout, looking in the other direction. What about that part?
I got you. I'm just reading.
They don't shoot the message.
Exactly. Exactly. But for Tyrese, that was a big moment. Obviously, a signature shot. He's having an incredible year. Some people say he's the MVP so far. And to Damian Lillard's credit in the post game, he was asked about Tyrese going to his wrist look after hitting the three. And Damian's like, you know what? That's a sign of respect. If I'm going to do it, I have to take it also. I have no problem with what Tyrese did.
Hey, if you're going to do it, you got to understand. If you're going to give it, you got to be able to take it. I mean, I expect nothing less from Dame. The boy is from the town. That's how we roll. That's how we work. Yeah. You know what? If I'm going to go out on the floor and I'm a trash talk, when I lose, I got to hear it.
Yeah, no, he took it. He took it well. And, afterwards, Giannis was not happy at all. He ripped the Bucks' effort, saying they have to be better after the tourney. He was very disappointed about that. Our talent level is, quote, incredible. We simply have to be better than that. What do you make of that?
A leader, a leader calling everybody out. The one thing that I do like about Giannis is that 9 times out of 10, he leads by example because he leaves it all out there on the floor. So if your leader is saying, we have to get better, we have to step it up, and he's giving everything he has, well, some of you other guys better step your game up.
Yeah, no doubt. In fact, there were reports that there were some heated conversations after the game in the locker room. And then, after a tough loss, there's always going to be conversations in the locker room, right? I don't know if that's such a big story, but I think part of it, obviously they have the new coach there with Mike Budenholzer getting let go after the year, and some talk about maybe not being organized well enough late in games, for situations, and just kind of going to isolation plays and things like that. So I don't know. It's still early on, but Adrian Griffin's taking some some critiques right now.
I'm pretty sure, when you're a championship or bust team, things like that are going to happen. You don't have that mid margin for, oh, well, we're still working. Oh, well, we're still finding things out. Oh, well, we're still trying different combinations. Now, you're a championship or bust team. You got to be ready right now. That was the problem when you added a Dame Lillard to that team, because he was supposed to be everything that you were missing from a championship. And if it still isn't working, then, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And to Giannis's credit, because Adrian Griffin after the game said, quote, I've got to do a better job of getting them into some certain sets down the stretch, basically saying, it's on him to coach it better. Giannis responded after hearing that and saying, no, it's not on the coaches. It's on the players to get the job done, no matter what the coaches are telling them to do.
Giannis must see something that, he understands that, no, some of y'all just to give it 100.
Mm-hmm.
And your players, Scott.
Yeah.
You're in the practice room or on the practice floor with these guys more than you with your family at home. So, I'm pretty sure he can look at everybody in the locker room and be like, okay, you gave it 100, you gave it 100. Nah, bruh, you didn't show up and you didn't show up. So, like I said, when your leader is calling guys out, you're going to have to respond.
No question. And Giannis did his part, 37 points, had 10 rebounds. It wasn't enough. Halliburton finished 27 points, 7 rebounds, 15 assists. And then the number that's been standing out for him, he got his 15 assists with the big goose egg turnovers, 0 turnovers.
Didn't turn the ball over once. I mean, you talk about efficiency. That's big time. That's big time right there.
Yeah, he's playing at a high level, no doubt. First team All-NBA consideration, and some people even think bigger than that. All right, we'll take the break. We'll come back. We're going to go around the league. We will get to Edward as well on the phone lines. Hang in there. We appreciate that. This is Game Night right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty, we are live on YouTube.
All right, what do we got?
Some people were asking about Kings draft picks earlier, and the trade deadline's coming around. I think Edward's call is going to be along those lines too.
Cool.
But just for people who are wondering, so the Kings don't have their draft pick this year as of now. It's lottery protected, but it's going to Atlanta in the Kevin Huerter trade if the Kings make the playoffs this year. So if that happens, the protections go away, and then because you can't trade draft picks in back-to-back years, if they were to make a trade right now, they wouldn't be able to trade their 2025 draft picks. So anything 2026 and beyond, the Kings can include a first-round pick in a trade. So that was clearing that up for some people on the YouTube. Also some conversation about the in-season tournament like you guys were talking about with the Pacers and the Lakers.
Where's the poll question right now in terms of Pacers-Lakers?
Let's see. Lakers 57%, Pacers 43%, which I think the Lakers are a slight favorite going into that game. So I think that that checks out with what the averages are now.
Yeah, no, I think they are. There's no question with the Lakers being in Vegas. If there's any line, it would be on LA because they always get the benefit of the doubt being so close. There's so many Laker fans in Vegas to begin with.
Which I thought was fun yesterday that the ticket prices for the two games had such a wide discrepancy because of how many Laker fans were coming. Like you could have gotten in the door to that Pacers Bucks game, which granted started at 2:00.
It was an awkward time, and obviously I'm trying to figure out. I know they had two games in one day, but they were also going up against NFL football on Thursday, and now it was Patriots and Steelers. So some people would argue, was that really? But the Patriots ended up beating the Steelers.
Yeah, that one was interesting, but you could have gotten in the door for that Pacers Bucks game for I think it was like $15.
Well, and what's
like
crazy too, and I think this is where they and Heather, tell me if you agree. I think the league will figure out how to do this differently because the games were assigned so late, especially those Monday and Tuesday night games too. Like in Milwaukee, they were doing 2-for-1s for their home game because it was so late scheduled, trying to get people there, everything else. And Milwaukee's a team that draws very well. And obviously there was a good turnout for the game on Monday night in Sacramento, but it's a quick turnaround to get people to come regardless of the circumstance.
I mean, we all have to understand, Scott, that this was the first year and the league was flying by its seat, just trying to get these games together. Yep. So it wasn't going to be perfect. They'll definitely be able to, schedule things better next year. But, just to get the in-season tournament going and getting everything to where we are right now to the championship game, I think the league did a great job.
Yeah.
And there was some controversy at the last day where, because Boston played after Orlando, Boston knew what their target score was in order to advance, so they could run up the score on the Bulls, and then Orlando got knocked out because of it. There was some controversy, but stuff that they'll probably correct.
Almost might have all the last games on the same day type of thing.
Yeah,
like
but
the last day of the season.
But if they were to do that, they'd have to change the format, because you can't have 5 teams in a group. It's an odd number, so you can't have everyone playing at the same time if they're all in the same group. So they'll work on it. They'll correct it. But
I think we'll all agree it's definitely coming back next year.
Sorry,
it was not a one and done.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. To get meaningful basketball this early, we're just 20 games in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody, has been talking about, well, the NBA really doesn't kick off until after All-Star break. No, not this year, buddy.
The Pacers-Bucks game was must-watch yesterday. That was incredible.
It was back and forth, up and down.
Yeah,
I
didn't watch the second one, but I heard it was a bit of a stinker. But that Pacers-Bucks game was excellent.
It was great. Yeah, no, and the Lakers just, routed the Pelicans. So it wasn't much to it. It was fun to watch LeBron. I'll say that.
It's always fun to watch
and
LeBron.
Austin Reeves had a big night. I'll say that too. And Austin Reeves is starting to play really well for the Lakers. Also, he is playing more with LeBron. Apparently, they have great chemistry amongst the two of them, and he's become a factor for them. We'll get into more of that. We're getting back on live here.
HTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back into game night right here. Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall along with the high flyer Henry Turner. Game night is always being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. We're going to break down a little more analysis on the in-season tournament. We'll go around the league, all that good stuff. But Edward's been waiting patiently online. So let's go to Edward. Edward, welcome into game night. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, and patience is my middle name for this season.
Well, we appreciate it. What's going on?
Well, first I have a question. Monty signed a new deal. Was it for 3 years or more?
I would have to look up the specifics of Monty's contract.
I have a feeling it was only for 3, which means this is year 1, and next year he's got to produce.
Monty McNair and Mike Brown are both signed through 2026.
So that would be 3 years. Yeah, this season and 2 more after this.
Okay. So Monty's got to produce next year, and that's the year I'm pushing for, because we're going to have to sign Malik Monk. De'Aaron brought him over. His contract's up the end of the year. We're going to have to sign him. So we don't need any more guards, but we do need size. And I think what we've got to look at is Valanciunas. His contract expires at the end of the year. Sabonis needs to bring him in. And that solves our biggest problem, is that we're too small up front. So Valanciunas gives a great backup for Sabonis, and they play together on the national team. They can play together if we need to go against Minnesota or someone like that. That's who we want. Sign Monk, bring in Valanciunas, and for the rest of this year, let's see if Sasha or Davion or Keegan can actually be justified at where they were brought in, or if they're just end-of-the-bench players. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet from Keegan, but he's hurt. Davion is slipping, and Sasha doesn't look much better than Belich so far. So that's where I am. I'm very patient this year, but next year's the year.
Oh, and you patiently laid out your case there. We appreciate the phone call. High Flyer, your reaction to that. Obviously, I think Valanciunas, if you could get him, of course. And there is that connection, that chemistry with Sabonis and Valanciunas. They know each other well. I mean,
here's the problem with that. Valanciunas is not signing with a team to come off the bench. You can forget that. I don't care what team he signs for. He is not signing to come off the bench. He's a starter.
Oh, he's a starting set. No question about it.
Right.
No question.
So,
let me ask you this. Do you think Sabonis and Valanciunas would play well together? I mean, that's the thing with Sabonis, right? He's a 5 in terms of how he plays, really in a 4 body.
Here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
When you look at how the Sacramento Kings play, up and down, stretch the floor.
Yep. That's not his game.
Well, Sabonis ain't stretch, and neither is Valanciunas.
No, although Valanciunas might shoot the 3 better than Sabonis, maybe.
But that's saying neither one of them
are 3-point
are stretch guys.
No.
So now you're talking about something that's detrimental to the rest of the players.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think that if you can get a guy like that, of course you go grab him.
Yeah.
And you make it work. But all about who starts, who comes off the bench, and then how are you going to be able to make it work on the offensive side? The only way that I would think something like that would really work in playing both of those guys, your 1, 2, 3 have to shoot lights out from 3.
Yep.
They really do. And then that will allow you to keep Sabonis at the free throw line and maybe put Valanciunas in the corner, or you got to run some type of high-low action.
Yeah, no doubt. It would definitely change everything. I don't think there's any doubt the team wants and needs to re-sign Malik Monk.
Oh, for sure. That's a must. But here's going to be a big problem with that. How coveted you think Malik Monk is going to be?
Oh, no doubt. You're going to roll the vault out.
That's going to be a problem.
I mean, can you imagine he's gone from being basically waived by the Lakers to now being in a situation where he's got massive leverage?
That's going to be the problem because you just maxed out De'Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
You maxed out Sabonis. You gave Harrison Barnes a pretty good chunk.
Yep.
You gave Sasha a pretty good chunk to come over. All right. Now, how much more money is there in the till?
Mm-hmm.
Because Malik is going to need some.
No doubt. Well, as Drape says, it's money Malik Monk.
Hey, I call him Malik the Magnificent. I don't know my money yet. He ain't got that name for me yet, but he definitely Malik the Magnificent.
Yeah. Now, in terms of Keegan not showing us anything yet, I think that was a little bit of an overstatement by Edward. He hasn't necessarily lived up to, I think, what the hype was for year 2 so far yet.
And the hype from who?
Well, when you have a King scout saying he expects him to make the most progress from year 1 to year 2 since Kawhi Leonard, that's a lot of hype.
And see, that's the problem with somebody coming out running their fat mouth about, okay, this is where this guy is going to be. You don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, you could actually say, okay, this is where I think he should be.
Mm-hmm.
When we said that as an organization, I was like, ooh, that's going to put a target on that kid's back. And that's a very lofty situation to put him in. Now, defensively, he stepped up. He's playing very good defensively. His shot just isn't falling.
Yep.
Now, by All-Star break, if Keegan started knocking the shot down, by All-Star break, we still might be talking about, he made a hell of a jump, just like Kawhi. But as of right now, no, he hasn't.
It's early. Game night being brought to you by National Garage Door. Call today for your basketball special, 916-638-4554. We touched on it earlier, but clearly Edward reemphasizing it. Davian and Sasha to this point really haven't contributed as much as
they've underperformed.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt. I mean, I won't even sugarcoat it, not going to even try. They have definitely underperformed.
Yep. We talk about contracts and obviously with Malik, all of that, it just recently came out too. De'Aaron Fox, the Kings were trying to give him the 2-year extension on top of his max contract. He turned it down in the off season. It would have been 2 years, $105 million. It's the maximum they could offer at that time. Fox, assuming he gets another all NBA, if he moves up to a second team selection, would be eligible for the Supermax, which would put him in the ability to get $245 million over 4 years.
Ooh-wee.
So Fox turning it down doesn't mean he doesn't want to stay in Sacramento. He's got 2 more years after this one. It's a matter of he's got a chance to get $250 million.
A Supermax deal.
Yeah.
That's what, D Fox, I'd have turned it down too.
It's a bit of a risk for any player. I mean,
you know what?
I mean, you're turning down $105 guaranteed $1 million.
Scott, he just signed for 190, didn't he?
Yeah, they're on that range. Yep.
That's guaranteed.
Yep.
There's no way, no how he's going to be standing on the corner with a sign, holla, we'll work for food.
Understood.
So, yeah, he has a whole lot of leverage on his side.
Understood on that. If you want to join us, you certainly can at 916-339-1140. We'll go back to the phone lines. Tin, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Marsh. I want to share with you guys, because the Kings are playing the Phoenix Suns tonight.
Yes.
Do you guys remember former Sun Marquise Chris? He went to Pleasant Grove out here in Sacramento.
Yes, he did. Went to Sacramento, played at the University of Washington, was drafted by the Kings, ended up in Phoenix. Yep.
Wow, really cool. So I just wanted to share a quick story, and then I'll let you guys go, is that He played at my high school, Sheldon Huskies. I was at the game, and Marquise Chris hit a very clutch shot at the buzzer to push the game into overtime. I guess Sheldon and I was like, hey, keep your eyes on Mr. Chris when he's going to make the NBA. He's going to do something. And, you know, he's been on the Dallas Mavericks, this and that.
He's bounced around. Yep.
Yeah. I'm just happy, you know, that seeing him make the big play, you know, from this level, and then he went on to the pros. So shout out to Marquise Chris, wherever he is and whatever he's doing in life.
That is cool. It's cool that you got to see him and to know him. Thanks for that phone call, Tin. We appreciate that. Yeah, Marquise Chris, I certainly remember him. It's always cool anytime a local kid can make the NBA.
I mean, no doubt. You know what? Marquise Chris and Jordan Ford and my son played pretty much all in that same year. You know, they definitely, you know, were some phenoms coming out. Marquise Chris really could have had a very nice career. I think Marquise Chris was guilty of a situation where his anger management kept him out of the league.
Okay.
You know, he really had a situation to where almost like DeMarcus Cousins. He was very demonstrative when he was on the floor.
Yeah. He was named to the All-NBA rookie second team, you know, so he started off not so bad. You know, he played with the Rockets. He played with the Cavs for a little bit. He was on the Warriors roster. He was on the Mavs roster in 21-22. So be interesting to see what else may happen for Marquise Chris. All right, let's go around the league a little bit. It's a busy Friday night because all the teams that aren't playing tomorrow night are basically in action tonight. So that basically includes almost every team besides the Pacers and the Lakers, of course. Let's the other consolation game tonight is the Celtics and the Knicks. Do you think these teams have any issue getting up for this game tonight, knowing that they're basically playing in the consolation of the in-season tournament game?
New York against
Boston.
Boston? Nah.
Okay.
Come on. I mean, both of those places.
Yeah.
I mean, can you get any more iconic than the Boston Garden and the Garden in New York?
No, you can't. You'll get up for that. Yeah, you'll get up for that game.
If you're not up for either one of those games, you don't belong in this league.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. All right. Hornets leading the Raptors at half 66-54. The Pistons are down at halftime to the Magic 58-44. The Pistons have lost 18 straight games.
Ooh-wee. Franchise record, right?
Yeah, definitely a franchise record.
Wow. That's tough. I mean, you know, Monty, I like you, bro, but you're going to have to be able to do a little bit better. And you know what? And I believe in Monty Williams, man. I think, you know, he'll have a chance to evaluate this group. He's going to get some of his guys in there that he, you know, really trusts and know that can play. He'll turn this thing around very soon.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the next segment with Frank Vogel in Phoenix now, Monty out. We'll talk about what you think are might be some of the differences with the Suns. Sixers and Hawks, Atlanta leading at the half 68-62 in that contest. The Nets, who are here on Monday, they take on the Wizards right now. They're trailing 30-28. The Nets are 11-9. Be interesting to see them, their lone appearance here in Sacramento on Monday night.
Is Brooklyn in the house?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I thought with them getting, you know, some of the pieces back, you know, from that Phoenix trade, I thought the Nets got some good pieces. You know, they got Markel Bridges, they got Johnson. You know, they had a couple of guys to their roster, man, and you know, they got guys who can play and guys that still want to go out there and work hard.
Yeah, no, they still have a professional roster.
Right.
No
guys that
want
to go out there and work hard and prove themselves. So, you know, yeah, they can win some basketball games.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see them on Monday night. Knicks and Celtics are 44 apiece. That's in the second quarter. Cavs and Heat just underway. Grizz and Timberwolves just underway as well. Thunder and Warriors just underway too. So OKC right now with the second best record in the conference at 13-7, and the Warriors on the road. That's an interesting game.
Yeah, no doubt, because OKC has definitely gotten it together.
Mm-hmm.
Shea is playing some great basketball. I told you I like Chet. I mean, I think Chet's still going to be in the running for a Rookie of the Year. Him and Wemby going to be like head to head. They got some real good pieces, man. I like what they're doing.
They do. All right, Spurs and Bulls, Rockets and Nuggets. Clippers and Jazz. We'll see LA again next Tuesday night. Mavs and Trailblazers. So a busy night in the association. When we come back, we'll focus in on the Kings and the Suns. We talked about new coach and Frank Vogel. We'll get you caught up on all the injury updates for the Suns. They won't have a lot of people playing tonight. That and a lot more. Game night being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento, especially in this holiday season. There are so many kids out there come from single parent households. They could use a mentor in their life. Maybe that's you. If you have a heart of service and you want to do something good for our community and for kids who are in need, Big Brothers Big Sisters, a great cause. Call 916-646-9300. Visit bbbs-sac.org. You can learn all about how you could become a volunteer mentor. More of Game Night right here. Sactown Sports 1140.
All righty, we're live on YouTube.
All right, what do we got, Kyle?
Some people disagree with the assessment of the stand our caller Edward was giving for the team of moving Domas to the 4 and running a big lineup. Okay. Most people think that
bad idea.
Domas at the 5 is probably the best way forward. I
don't know about that. I mean, look, we saw on Monday night, this team does not play well against length and athleticism. Okay. The Kings can win 45 or 50 games every year. They can make the first round of the playoffs, maybe the second round of the playoffs. But is this team proven that this is a Western Conference championship team? Is this a finals championship team? I don't know about that.
Well, yeah. And this is kind of my thinking at the start of the year, because I thought they would be in that like 4 to 6, 4 to 7 range in the Western Conference, is because they're running it back with the same team as last year. And length was a problem last year when they lost 3 out of 4 to Minnesota,
sure.
Games against the Pelicans.
It's early on still, but is this team showing improvement from last year?
No, and there's pretty irrefutable numbers that show that this is a worse performing team than last year, in particular because some of the nerd stats that I like to look at kind of prove that, the Kings have been a bit lucky this year. They're 20th in net rating, which is 5th out of 5 in the division so far. All 4 teams in the division have a higher net rating than them. Their expected win-loss record is 18th in the league, based on the points they've put up this year and the points they've allowed. So yeah, no, so far this year, this has not been as good as the 82 game long Kings from last year.
That's true. Now the Kings started terribly last year. So if we were going to compare 20 games beginning of the year to 20 games beginning last year, it probably looks a lot different.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the Sacramento Kings have had great moments this year. Part of it is when De'Aaron Fox has missed 25% of your games, some of those numbers are going to go down. And the other thing that's working against them is the games that they have lost, they've been blown out pretty bad. And that usually reflects poorly when you look at the averages, is when you're winning games by, the comeback 1-point win against the Warriors where you were down 20. Well, 8 times out of 10, that's normally going to end up being a loss.
Sure.
So, the blowout losses don't help, and the 1-score wins, don't disprove some of those points. But defensively, they have been a little bit improved compared to last year. And I think that's something Mike Brown will hold his hat on, but they just, as a team, have not been as good. And a big part of that is injuries. And
I think, too, especially when it comes to a team like the Pelicans specifically, Alex Len's a guy you would use against New Orleans, and they haven't had him against New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And obviously, Keegan with the back injuries helps because he's been, contributes to it because he's been guarding the best player on some of these teams. Just short amount of time left. We're going to be out at 24. Okay. And we're going to pull update back in 10 seconds.
Poll update.
Let's see. Lakers still coming in strong, 58% looks like.
Good enough.
FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Final segment here on Game Night, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer, Henry Turner. Game Night is always brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. All right, Kings and Suns. Phoenix, a team coming into the year, maybe the most hype of any team in the league. You might argue Milwaukee, but certainly the Suns right there in the conversation. Getting Bradley Beal, it was supposed to be the big 3, Beal, Booker and Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Durant's been awesome this year, no doubt about that. 18 straight games of 25 plus. He's had 7 plus of over 30. He's lived up to the billing. When Booker's played, he's only played in 12 games. He's been outstanding. We just haven't seen Bradley Beal. Back problems. Now, he did fully work out in practice yesterday, so he's very close. That's the good news for the Suns. The bad news is he's not going to play tonight. Kevin Durant, who rolled that ankle in the game on Tuesday at LA, he's not going to play tonight. No Grayson Allen tonight. So basically, it's the Kings against Booker. All right, we'll throw in Nurkic and Eric Gordon if you want to, but you look at it and just, again, from who's playing tonight, this is a game the Kings need to get.
It's a game you say, yes, they need to get. If they don't get this game, it'll be a big letdown. I will be the first one to agree with that. But, Scooter, I'm always in agreement to where, you can't disrespect those other players on that roster.
No, of course not.
Well, KD isn't here, you should win. Well, they got another guy that subs in for KD. Same thing with Same thing with Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal ain't been on the floor all year.
Nope.
And they've won some good basketball games. So understand they do have other guys, So, hey, D-Book does his thing. He's a monster. He's a true all-star. He's another guy that can put a team on his back and lead them. You have to respect that. You have to go out there and really take advantage and win this game.
You do, no doubt about that. You look at the Western Conference standings. The Kings are 11-8. The Suns are 12-9. They're both right around that 6th spot, which would be the final official spot in the playoffs. So early, of course, but the other spots would be that 7 through 10 in play-in. So potentially, these are going to be teams that will be battling near each other. They're both in the Pacific Division. A couple of things, obviously, in the offseason. Number one, Frank Vogel coming in as head coach with Monty Williams out. Your assessment of Frank Vogel and the fit in Phoenix?
Well, Scooter, they're only going to judge him one way. They're going to judge him compared to what Monty did last year. Is this team better? Did they make the right call? And as of right now, the Phoenix Suns have definitely underachieved.
Yep.
They haven't played their best basketball. Now, you can point the finger to a whole lot of things, health being one, not having all your guys on the floor at the same time, learning new schemes and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, they aren't where they thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. So you would definitely have to say that they played better basketball under Monty.
No doubt. Oh, and also no DeAndre Ayton. He's in Portland. Nurkic, what do you think of the difference there in the center spot?
I think Nurkic is helping them. I was down big time with Nurkic on Portland because I thought he was able to do much more than what he was giving them. But I think Portland was asking too much out of him. I think he's a much better player in the number 5 guy role, and that's exactly where he's at on the Phoenix roster. He's number 5 out of the starting 5.
Yep.
So I think he's definitely giving them a lift and giving them something.
All right, we'll track his points in the paint tonight. We'll see how the Kings can do. They got outscored in the paint against the Pelicans on Monday night, 52-38. That's going to do it for game night. Of course, I'll look at the points in the paint. Brought to you by RT Painting, your reliable and trusted painter in the Sacramento market since 1999. High Flyers, always great to work with you. Have a great call tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right, coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross takes this chair. The High Flyer stays. They'll break things down. The G-Man will join them. 6 o'clock tip tonight in the Valley of the Sun, Footprint Center. The G-Man will have the call as always. We've got you covered all night long. Keep it tuned. Sactown Sports 1140. Kings basketball coming your way next.
All righty. Thanks all to the YouTube people, and we'll chat with you on Monday. Next Kings game on Monday. Good night, light the beam, all that good stuff.
Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.